Hello everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to prepare a steamed lamb head.
Yes, so it's going to be a steamed lamb head. This recipe comes from Guanajuato, Mexico. So I grew up in that part. My dad used to make these all the time. That was his favorite. It was so delicious. When I first tried them, I was a little bit nervous and hesitant. But after I tried them, I was like, oh man, these are delicious. This is my favorite. Yes, it sounds a little bit weird, a head. But if you go to the taqueria or anywhere else and you see it on the census cabeza, it's either going to be a beef, which is a cow, or lamb. So those are the two types of cabeza, and it's all mixed. So we're going to show you how to prepare those. It's very easy. If you are up for making one, you can find them at any Mexican grocery store, carniceria. They have them. Just ask for a borrego, and they'll pop out the head and say, hey, well, there it is. So don't be scared. Easy to prepare. All you need is one simple ingredient to put in there, and they're off to get steamed.
Okay, let's get started with this recipe.
All right, so this is a particular packaging that you will see at your local grocery store, meat market, carniceria. These are the packages that the heads are going to be in. So what we're going to do, just go ahead and remove the head from the packaging. As you can see, the head is pretty complete. It is going to have your tongue, your cheeks, a couple of veins sticking out. Sometimes you'll find a little bit of excess of the hair on the skin, but you can just go ahead and cut that off. What we're doing with the other head, we're just going to go ahead and remove it from the packaging just to make sure there's no excess thing that we need to cut off. And once you check them, you're good to go to clean them off. Make sure you get every bottom piece, top piece, because it is going to have quite a bit of blood still on the head. Don't freak out, it is pretty normal. It's just pretty much like any other cut of meat. You're still gonna see blood that's dripping and you have to rinse them off. So just give it a good rinse, and as you can see, it is coming off. The color changes because it's just the way the head was packaged. Since it is frozen, it does freeze that excess blood on there. So I did leave them to unthaw overnight, and that first thing in the morning, I just went ahead and started to wash them, and there you go. Nice clean head. And what you're going to do, you're going to put them in the bowl with the paper towel on the bottom, and that's just what to go ahead and absorb the excess of water that's still on that head. And just go ahead and place it in there, and we're going to do the same thing with the other head. All right, let's go ahead and give it a good rinse, and once that's nice and clean, we're going to place it along with the other head. That way that excess of water can filter down to the bottom of that paper towel. The next step we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and pat these heads dry with a paper towel. We want to make sure we get all that excess of water out and away from the heads, because when we season them, we want that season to go ahead and stick onto the head. That way it doesn't just fall off or clump up on one side. We want to make sure that seasoning is all over these heads. So just go ahead and grab a paper towel, take your time, pat them down, make sure you get all that excess of water out. And to cover these lamb heads, I am going to use aluminum foil and banana leaves. And I'm going to show you how to prepare those banana leaves. That way they're easier to manage. All right, so here are my banana leaves. They do come in a bundle just like this. They're very inexpensive, and you can find them at a local grocery store. So when you are getting them ready, just go ahead and unfold them. Put them on your griddle or wherever you heat, like a tortilla or anything like that, because you do need to extend it. Why I'm doing this is because it makes it a little bit easier to manage, easier to fold. You may see a lot of people that use these particular leaves to wrap their tamales, and they turn out really good. So this is just one easier way to do them. You may see that there's a lot of steam coming out of the actual banana leaf, but that's not because of the banana leaf that it's burning. It's just, it was particularly cold this morning, and the steam is just popping out because they were just wet, and my griddle was a little bit frozen. But yeah, that's what's going on. But just heat them up a little bit. You'll see that it'll start changing color, and that makes them just easier to fold, as you can see. All right, and once you got all your banana leaves ready, it's time to go inside and start wrapping our lamb heads.
All right, so we're going to take our lamb head, and we are going to start seasoning it. And this season is all season purpose. So all season has cumin, it has salt, it has pepper, it has garlic powder, It's all mixed in. And it's your all seasoning of your choice. So you can choose any seasoning that you want, season this however you want it. But the all seasons pretty much has everything ready to go. And all you have to do is just lay it on there. Be generous. Make sure you get every crave in here. Look at that. Beautiful. And what we're gonna use to cover it, we're gonna use the banana leaves that we made them softer earlier by putting them on the griddle. So this made this a little bit more manageable. That way we can fold it. Because if we didn't burn them like the way we did earlier, they're just gonna pop and break. So this just makes them a little bit more manageable. But this will protect the head and give it the flavor of the leaf. All right. Next, we're gonna use the aluminum foil. And we're gonna wrap the head. That way when we steam them, it conserves the steam inside. Look at that. There you go. It's ready to go. That easy. So let's get our pot ready so we can put these bad boys in there.
All right, next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and get our steamer ready, and we're gonna add water just to that little bottom plank. And if you see the water that is a little bit steamy, it's because I did heat up the water just a little bit, just to get the process going. And just double checking here just to make sure I didn't overfill. So next thing, go ahead and put in your banana leaves, and you're gonna make a nice little bed on the bottom. Just go ahead and, go in a circle. Like I said, these banana leaves are, preheated, easier to manage. As you can see, they just fold right away. So just make that little bed on the bottom. And just keep on going, keep on going. There we go. So next thing we're gonna do is gonna put our heads on the little bed. And then we're gonna go ahead and cover it with the remainder of the banana leaves. You are gonna have some banana leaves left over because that packet does have a lot. You can use them for tamales if you're gonna make tamales or anything else. If you don't need them, just go ahead and discard them. All right, so this part is done. Let's go ahead and cover our steamer. So once we have our steamer ready, we're gonna leave it on the burner for 4 hours. You have to check every hour because we're gonna need to add water. Don't make the error where you forget. It's like, oh no, it still sounds like it has water. Most likely it might not, and you will need to add it because it will burn, it will dry up that water. I recommend having like a little clock or a timer just to make sure it reminds you that it's time to add water. What I'm laughing about is we did have an incident where we made tamales. We left it on the burner, and we did add additional water, but we were like, hey, we're gonna put a molcajete on the top just to conserve the steam inside, and that way the tamales cook faster. What happened is the bottom of that steamer popped. It exploded to the bottom, leaked out all the water, and burned the tamales that day. It was crazy. What my wife is trying to explain right now is in Mexico, what they did do to let you know that it's time to add water, everybody used to put a spoon on the bottom of that steamer on the first layer where the water goes. That way when the water was evaporating and it's time to add more, it'll make a rattle sound. Or sometimes they put loose change on the bottom, so when it was time to add additional water, the change will start rattling and you'll know, hey, oh yeah, it's time to add some more water on that. It's a little hack. It does work. If you want to try it, go ahead. And if you did it before, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I would love to hear that story. But let's go ahead and get these lamb heads on our burner. That way we can start taking off all that delicious meat out and making some tacos. All right, so 4 hours later, here we are. We're gonna go ahead and remove the lamb heads from the steamer. What I recommend is once you turn off that burner, leave the pot on there for at least 10-15 minutes. That way it can reduce the steam. That way when you open it, that full steam doesn't just hit your face. As you can see, This was left on there for at least 20 minutes. I just wanted to make sure, it was easier for me to take out the heads because that is pretty hot. And be careful when removing the heads from the steamer because it is hot. It does drip a little bit of that steamed water, and you don't want to burn yourself. Just go ahead and use a big cookie sheet, a pan, what might have, so you can carry these bad boys inside. This is what's left of our banana leaves. As you can see, it didn't burn. There's still a little bit of water on the bottom. What I recommend doing is just leaving this outside uncovered for a good 30 up to an hour. That way you can discard them, throw them away, and it's easier to clean that steamer and use them for your next recipe. All right, we're gonna go ahead and check out our lamb head, see how it turned out. We're gonna remove that banana leaf, but be very careful because it is still hot. As you can see, there's a little bit of steam still coming out. But look at that, beautiful. These particular lamb heads do not have a lot of meat. You can probably make 4 or 5 tacos at the most out of one head. If you want to have lots of meat, you at least need to make like 4 or 5 heads. That way you have plenty of meat. Alright, so as you can see, the bone's just falling right off. The jawbone just breaks right apart. It's easy to take off this meat. The cheeks, the tongue, the eyes. The brain is the only one that's kind of tough to get on there because you have to get through that skull. But look at that. Meat is just coming right off. The tongue, you do have to peel it, that outer layer. That way you can get to the meat. You do not eat the outer layer of the tongue. Kind of like a cow tongue. You have to peel it and eat the inside. You don't eat that outer layer. It's very rubbery. It's not a pleasant bite. And we're going ahead and remove a little bit more of that meat. And you just keep on going. You just, tear off everything that comes off. Look at that. It just peels right off. All right. And let me show you how to get inside of that skull. Make sure you have a good chopper. Give it a good crack on the side. The side is going to open up, and that's where you get to the eye. You can use the eye for the tacos. I'm not a big fan of the eye or the brain, so I'm just going to leave those aside. But you can combine them together. And like I said, the tacos de cabeza, those are all combined. And there is the brain. Let me just focus in there. You can go ahead and remove that, take it out, chop it up, make it into tacos as well, mix it with the meat. But that is your choice. You don't have to, but it is your choice. For me, like I said, not a big fan of the lamb head brain or the eyes, so I'm just going to leave those aside. But you can just go ahead and remove all the other meat that it has, all over. And a lot of you asking, what does that taste like? Well, if you ever had lamb chops, it's the same taste. It's a distinctive flavor. This is what comes out of one head. And this is not including the eyes and the brain. So this is the amount of meat that came out of one head. All right, let's go ahead and get our meat together. We're going to go ahead and chop it. That way we can prepare our tacos. And to chop up your meat, you don't have to be all fancy. Just put it all together in a little ball and just go ahead and chop away. You just want to make sure you have enough meat for at least 3 or 4 tacos. Go ahead and heat up your tortilla. We're going to add a little bit of cheese. And this is Oaxaca cheese. Kind of like if you're making a quesadilla. Going to put the other tortilla on the top. Let that warm up. We want that cheese to start melting in the middle, but we want both sides of that tortilla heated up very nicely. There we go. Look at that. Nice and melted. We're ready to scoop that up and start preparing our taco. All right, so we're going to start adding the meat to our taco. Add a little bit more. There we go. Now we're going to add some onion, a little bit of cilantro. I like to add a little bit of lime juice to mine. There we go. And now we're gonna add our salsa. So for salsa, you can add any kind of salsa that you want. For this particular one, I am gonna add a red salsa that was prepared by my wife, and I am gonna leave her link below in the description. Her page is Salty Cocina. Various Mexican recipes, great food, easy to make. So check her out, Salty Cocina. The link is on the description below. Now let's add this salsa to this delicious taco. There you go. I like lots of salsa on mine. I like my tacos spicy. So there we go. This is our taco de cabeza, our steamed lamb head taco. And let's give it a try. There we go. I can say that it is very tasty. The lamb is very soft. The salsa makes a big difference because it makes it nice and spicy, but it's delicious. Very easy to make. The lamb heads, I would say about $7-8 per head. But if you want to make a lot of meat for the tacos de cabeza, at least buy 4 or 5 heads. All right, so if you want to prepare these steamed lamb heads, go ahead and replay this entire video. It's very easy. It's not that hard to make. If you're up for it and want to try these lamb heads, I would say go for it. It's very different than any other taco you have ever tasted. So until next time, enjoy.